So welcome again to the Bodhicharyavatara. We're going through the 8th chapter, stanza number 97. We're discussing bodhicitta, the compassion, how to generate compassion or bodhicitta, or relative bodhicitta. And the first thing is to try to understand the similarity or equality of myself and others, or equality of wanting to be free from suffering and wanting to have all the positive things and happiness for myself and others. And then it says, since the pain of others does not harm to me, I do not shield myself from it. So why to guard against my future pain, which does no harm to this, my present me? You know, this is how most of us think, what happens to me, if I get pain, if somebody does something or some pain happens to me, then I feel pain myself. And that's why I need to protect myself. I need to do everything to get rid of that or not to have that. But if that happens to somebody else, I don't feel it. I don't feel that pain. So why bother? Why bother so much to try to get rid of that pain or try to protect them? This is our usual way of thinking. Now here it's very important. It's very important because, to think that I will have to bear it is in fact a false idea. For that which dies is one thing. Dies is one thing. For that which dies is one thing. What is born is something else. This is 98, stanza 98. It says that, actually the problem is because I hold me as so kind of dearly and so strongly and so much kind of disparately, me. I will be hurt. I will have problems. I am hurt. Me. Actually, the problem that I have so much problem, I have so much pain, I have so much suffering, I have so much stress, I have so much hurt feeling, I have so much sadness, sorrow, is because of that, that I want to have no problem, I want to have no pain, I want to have all the problem good and things. And we don't understand that actually what I call me is always changing. It's always changing. My body is changing all the time. My body is not one thing. It's lots of different things. It's a kind of collection of 6 elements. The earth element, water element, fire element, air element, space element, and consciousness element kind of put together or came together due to some causes and conditions. And all of these are always changing, each one is changing. If you look from the scientific point of view, then we are, a lot of cells, and all these cells are changing all the time. So I think that this is me, but this is actually every moment. It's a different thing. It's lots of things. As we discussed before. It is easy to understand that our body is like seen to be by the scientists as like trillions of cells. Some say it's 100 trillion cells. And out of 100 trillion cells, about 90% are, bacteria even, which is not necessarily me. I can't call bacteria as me. So therefore, there's no, what is me? Where is me? So therefore, I have pain because I hold on so much, I identify so much with this body, with this, state. That's why. And that's why it is actually good for me if I don't identify too much, if I don't hold too much, and I, try to become more compassionate, more caring for everybody else. Anyway, I think that I will have to bear it is in fact a false idea, that my future is not really me. My future is, my future is in a way me, but it's a totally different thing. It's because I hold on to it as the same thing. For that which dies is one thing, what is born is something else, What that we die, this life is one thing. The next life is born is another thing. But also, this, what I call me today is one thing. What I call me tomorrow is another thing, Me is like, like a river, they say, you look at a river and say, this is the river. Yesterday, the same river. 10 years before is the same river. 100 years before is the same river. But what is a river? It's the water that's flowing. So is the water that's there now will be there next moment? No. It's our concept that this flow of river is the same river that is there now, that's there yesterday, that will be there tomorrow. So therefore, what is me? There's nothing. It's for the sufferers themselves, you will say, to shield themselves from injuries that come. The pain felt in my foot is not my hands, so why in fact should one protect the other? So if you say that, then you say, if you suffer, if you actually feel pain, suffer, then you have to shield yourself, you have to protect it. But if you don't feel, then why should I? But we have to do that because, if there is something happens to your hand, this hand, my other hand has to try to protect it, and my whole body has to protect it. Is, I don't say that this hand doesn't matter, my head doesn't matter to me. It's because my hand is, if my feet is, something hurt, or then I don't have to, it's like this story that, once the body said that, the hand said, I'm doing all the work. I'm doing all the work all the time. And I don't get anything. Everything is put into the mouth, and the mouth is eating everything. And all the things that, I earn, that mouth is eating, and I have nothing. And then the legs said, yeah, true. I'm running all day long, and I'm doing so much, and I don't get anything. Everything is eaten by the mouth. And then the stomach said, it's true. No? I work all day long trying to digest everything, and I'm working so hard to do everything, and it's only mouth who is getting it. Then they said, well, we go on strike. The hand said, I'm not going to lift anything. I'm going to completely, stop working. The leg said, yes, same thing. I'm not going to get up. I'm not going to go anywhere. And the stomach said, no, I'm going to digest anything. I'm just going to stop everything. So they stopped. And then what happens? Very soon, then, the mouth didn't eat anything. So the whole body felt, weaker and weaker and weaker, and the hand couldn't lift anything. The legs could not even get up. The stomach could not digest anything, and then the whole body was dying. The whole body was dying. Then they understood, yeah, it's not like that, It's not like that. It's everything is, helping everything. And, it's not just the mouth which is eating, but what mouth is eating is also, helping the hands to be able to work, legs able to walk, and stomach able to digest, and everything. If it's so in the same way, and this, it's for the sufferers themselves, we will say, to shield themselves. So all parts of my body is interdependent and same, and I feel the pain when something happens to any part of my body, because basically I hold it as me so strongly. And if I hold the same way as me to all sentient beings, then I would have similar feeling. If they suffer, I would have suffering. If they are happy, I would be happy too. And anything that is problem, suffering, pain, it's not that I need to have suffering, but I need to if anybody is suffering, because it is suffering, and because those people or that person doesn't want to have suffering, so therefore I have the duty, I must also try to get rid of that suffering. True, it's inadmissible, we will say. It happens simply through the force of ego clinging. But what is inadmissible for others and myself should be discarded utterly. So therefore, if you say that it is true, yes, it is inadmissible. It happens simply through the force of ego clinging. So this I will first go through the Tibetan, because we went through 3 stanzas. Kalte tela dungawe dola menu shir musung mao paye dungalyo numisine techi songs. Dogi tene nyu nyambi number 2 te lopate tatra hewa yenye la hewa no danye. So these 2. Konche konga dunga ko tene tenye chi sona kombi dunga lopiman chichitine te son shas. Now the last one. Kalte ripa me under dotan jimbi juichena. Doyin mri kointe julipana ponjayens. What he says that it is true that actually, what happens to what happens, I should not be what can you say? I should not be too much. I should not be feeling, or I should not be suffering because something bad happens to me in the future, or somebody bad happened to me in the past, because it's changed, it's not the same. I should not be, but I am suffering because of my ego clinging, because I say this is me. What happened to me? This is same me. What's happening to me? This is same me. What will be happening to me in the future? This is same me. I hold it as same. That's why, it's very painful. If I say that, then this self-clinging, I should get rid of it. I should not have it, because it's a false, it's a wrong concept. It's a false concept. It's not a true thing. It's not. It's changing all the time. So why should I, and therefore, this understanding is, I think it is, if I know deeply that everything is changing momentarily, so what happened before, happened before, and I don't have to hold on to that. And what will happen, but I have to do everything possible to make my future good, yes, but, it's no use worrying too much about that. And I should worry more about everybody else. If I feel like that, it will be less problem for me, less suffering for me. And the more, that's why, people found that the more compassionate you are, more, less selfish and less self-centered you are, more courageous you become, more actually joyful you become, more, worried you become, more, hurt and, stressed you become. We think that if I think about others' problems and sufferings more, that would give me lots of more pain and more suffering. But actually, the experience is opposite. The more I think less about myself, or I focus less about my own suffering and happiness, and I extend that feeling towards everybody, and understand the equanimity and equality, and the more actually courageous, large-hearted, compassionate, joyful, and happier I become. That's the understanding. So I think I stop here. Thank you very much.